numbers have increased.
The numbers have increased, yeah.
Okay.
You got to say that. Don't forget.
Right. And when do you have a time period, like just over the last several years, they've been increasing? I mean,
Well, yeah, 3 or 4 years, I'd say. Right, Chief Medeiros, about 3 or 4 years, they've been getting really busy.
We've had 1,500 calls in 3 years.
okay.
So it was never that high. And the numbers are increasing yearly because, keep in mind, some of the calls, and they're difficult to justify, send your truck to Kennedy Plaza to, assist an intoxicated male. That's tough. Well, is that person intoxicated, or did that person have maybe an allergic reaction? So you really don't know. Does that person need a rescue truck, or maybe if someone had checked and it's difficult, does that person need a cab? You don't know. So to say, no, we're not coming, the difficult situation here is with us in North Providence. We're a stone's throw from Providence on the Charles Street side. And God forbid if someone from my family was laying in the middle of a branch in Charles Street and that, was struck by a car and they called us for a rescue truck that's 1.5 miles away and we say no, this is a difficult, decision here. So it's a matter of, dollars and cents that we have an obligation to the people that put us where we are. And I know one of my taxpayers not going to want to hear that it took the Lincoln rescue truck or the Smithfield rescue truck or the Johnston rescue truck to come to Middle Spring Avenue because that truck was in the city of Providence.
Mayor Lombardi, can you explain the circumstances by which one of your residents was sent a bill for rescue service?
Yes, it was a rescue call that they weren't reimbursed for, so you send a bill. And at that point, the chief takes care of it because if they're one of our constituents, then they pay for that every year in their taxes for that rescue service.
And it was from Providence?
It was from another community.
Can one of the chiefs maybe speak to, is there ever any thought given to not send help towards Providence way?
No.
What's the mayors have said that, obviously, but what's the mindset there? Please, yeah.
In East Providence, we changed our response policy for mutual aid. We have 3 rescues, very fortunate. But 2 years ago, because of the growing number of calls in East Providence and outside of East Providence, and because of the age of our apparatus, we ended up sending our furthest truck to Providence. The logic being, well, I just mentioned that we want to keep as much help into the city of East Providence as possible. There are times when our dispatch of Providence would cancel, so if I sent the nearest truck, it would be in Providence, stuck in traffic before it can come back. The truck that's in the southern end of the city, the Riverside section, if it is dispatched and canceled within 2-3 minutes, chances are it's still within our city boundary, we can respond yet again. The other thing is the trucks are aging. There's no doubt about that. And we don't have the money, as you've heard numerous times, to keep replacing these. So trying to extend the useful life of these vehicles, at the same time not deny help to a neighboring community, because they will respond with an engine company, they will respond with a ladder company, they have trained EMTs on board. Medical attention is not being denied. The transportation vehicle is going to be a little longer in responding and arriving on scene. So we did change our policy 2 years ago.
Is there a feeling like this is a brotherhood, we'll never leave them hanging out to dry?
Let me put it this way. My job is to provide the services as effectively, efficiently, safely to the city of East Providence. I don't have any ties to Providence. They're their own entity. However, if a neighboring fire department calls for help, and they call the fire department, we're going to help. Now, whatever the city of East Providence decides, that's the policy that we're going to follow.
So you said this is EMS services only.
Correct.
So if there's a fire in Providence or anything like that, you're not going to charge a $500
Of course
fee?
not. We'll send them as many trucks as they need, and we'll stay there. We'll stay there until the job's done.
How many rescues does each town have?
3. 3. 2. And keep in mind, we got 4,917 rescue calls we do a year with 3 rescues. and they're busy. I mean, I hear them all the time. Providence does 35 to 30 to 40,000 rescues with 6 trucks. So those guys and gals, those ladies, men and women are running constantly. So, as I said, this is, just put this in just a response. This isn't about a brotherhood. This is about protecting our residents that live in our community. That's what it's about. And it's about, and the second on the list is the economic factor. But, I had the opportunity to use the rescue last year for my wife. And Johnson Rescue, they were great. And when you're waiting for a rescue, okay, it only took them 5 minutes to get there, which is quick. It seems like it's 15 minutes. But, so when if I got people waiting for a rescue to come in from North Providence, or Cranston, or Smithfield, in the western part of the Johnston, it's going to be 12, 14, 15 minutes, which is a long time.
Presumably, you guys are called to help other towns as well, not just the city of Providence.
Right.
Are you guys, has there been any resistance from the city that says, why are you charging only us this nominal fee, or proposing to charge us only this nominal fee and nobody else?
Well, when you look at, I can tell you our numbers and figures. When you look at the mutual aid system that's set up between North Providence and Johnston, North Providence and Lincoln, it's very, very. The numbers are almost evened out.
So it's because it's balanced with you folks and not necessarily the city.
When, as Joe had stated, 553 calls, and you come to us some 40 calls or 50 calls, it's a little lopsided, as I stated. So, that being said, what we find in North Providence is we're starting to lean on neighboring communities so much more now because one of our trucks is spending a lot of time in the city. And that's where I think the fine line is. We're just trying to take care of this. And we have some other ideas that the chief has come up with to provide the service, maybe with additional vehicle certain times. But to do this all the time, it's become a burden. As I stated to you, 1,500 calls in 3 years. I would like to think that truck that we have to replace now, if that truck did not respond those 1,500 calls, we probably wouldn't be talking about replacing that truck for another 2 years. It's $190,000.
Have you heard anything from the city?
No, because when we spoke last time on the 16th of May in Mayor Tavares' office, we told them we said we would give them 30 days to make a decision on what they wanted to do, and we're true to our word. We're going to wait for 30 days. And I'm hoping that when you obviously air your stories, that you stress the fact that the reason why we had this press conference today is because of the rumors that were swelling. We're going to shut them off, and that's not what we're going to do. As I said, we're going to wait the 30 days, the full 30 days. We'll set up another meeting, and then we'll go from there. And then you'll have more information after our meeting in 30 days. But I think this is critical. This is no doubt it's critical for East Providence, Johnston, and North Providence. I'm speaking because of my colleagues are here. This is a critical situation when you're looking at, as I said, somewhat shortchanging the citizens of Johnston and East Providence and North Providence as well when it comes to shortchanging. I don't mean monetarily, I mean time-wise, if our rescues are tied up. And then second factor that comes on the sheet is the issue with the money. And
The other thing is that depending on the meds that are administered on some of these calls, some of these calls, and if you're not being reimbursed, become very, very costly.
And I think the chief would put me on his Christmas card list again if we got reimbursed and say it was $150,000 a year, and I said, here, put that in your budget and buy new rescues, buy new equipment.
When all three of you gave us the numbers for the calls, all three